Hello, and on the gaming table today, we're taking another look at Strength and Honor, this time the nature of the game. Now, Strength and Honor, as noted before, is a game of epic battles in the ancient world, and every game has a style or a nature, so we thought we'd have a look today at what the nature of this game is and whether or not it suits you. Now, some games can be described in different ways, for example, skirmish or big battle and so on and so on. And Strength and Honor is definitely a big battle game. This is a couple of examples of bases for Strength and Honor, and each of these might represent 4,000 to 5,000 men on the table. So it's definitely a big battle game. You're playing tens of thousands of soldiers on each side of a battle. Now, another way to look at games is to think of them as resource management games. An example of this might be DBMM. In DBMM, you roll dice to generate pips, and then you're spending those pips. You're managing that resource. You're also managing your morale equivalents, your breakpoint, okay, in a game of DBMM. Other games are risk management games. I play War Master as well, and you could consider the command rolls in War Master to be risk management. When you roll the dice, you don't know whether the command is going to work, and sometimes it doesn't. You're managing the risk that goes along with that dice roll. Now, Strength and Honor is definitely a risk management game in my view. Every activation, everything you try to do in Strength and Honor carries a risk, and you've got to manage that because the odds of different activations are not the same. And when things go wrong and an activation fails, then you suffer a reversal of fortune. It's the end of your turn and play passes to your opponent. So you want to manage the risk so that you get the most things done in a turn that you can. Now, given that your army, your side, will be about 6 to 12 bases or elements, and that the failure chance is typically at least 1 in 6, sometimes a lot more than that, there's a very good chance that you're not going to be able to do everything you want in a turn. So you've got to prioritize those big decisions. In other words, you're managing the risk of things as you go through your turn and take your activations. Now, there is a way to cover your mistakes in Strength and Honor, and you do have a resource for that. It's called the command board and command points. And so this is an example of a command board with a few different points on here. You can see there's some different categories, and we'll describe what those are and how those work in another video. But basically, you can alter a result with these things. You can't necessarily get a guaranteed result, but sometimes you can use that to get another chance at the result. Sometimes you can make the result work out slightly in your favor, okay? Other times it's just getting another roll to try the risk again and see if it works on the second occurrence. Okay, now the other way that risk management comes into the game is with setbacks and disasters. The way the game works is as things happen, you collect setback and disaster cards. These are cards that you pick up during the game when bad things happen. And as you go through the game, you need to call Homunculus Est to win the game. You need to call out your opponent and see what cards they have and whether or not it exceeds their army breakpoint. Now, the thing about this is that neither of you knows what those cards will be. When you collect those cards, you collect them hidden face down. So even though they're your cards, you don't know what you have, your opponent doesn't know what you have, but you can kind of make a guess because each of the cards has a point value and you can kind of figure out, like on average, what might they have. But there is definitely an element of risk there. When do you take that risk to call Homunculus Est and see if you have won the game? If you fail in that, if you take that risk and you fail, then play passes to your opponent, and also they get a slight benefit, which we'll describe in another video as well. So these are all risks that you have to take when you're playing the game, and this is again is why I would call Strength and Honor a risk management game. So, in summary, Strength and Honor is definitely a big battle game with thousands and thousands of troops on a side, and you're making big decisions and you're managing risk in the game rather than managing resources. I quite like that style of game. It's definitely a kind of game that suits me. It might not suit you, and that's okay, but now that you know a little bit more about it, and in some following videos where I'll describe more details about the game and how it works, it might be something you want to check out. Okay, but for now, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again real soon.